All right, well, I've got that on there. He ended up having to seam it in the middle. The only way I could do it is slide it from the middle over. It was really tough, so that worked out really good. You can use that Mega Black, and you can use that to do that stuff there. Make a seam. Lasts a long time, works really good. So let's take apart these seats here, and let's just see. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of some of the trash on these, and then build up the springs. I got some foam, put that on there. I don't know how much of this stuff I'm going to get in this video, but we're going to start here by just getting rid of some of this stuff, and then I'm going to bring the engine around here pretty soon. Hopefully we can get it in, and I don't know if we're going to get running yet. I got some issues to get taken care of, but at least maybe we can get it in the car, and we'll go from there. Well, we got to change the muffler and change the air cleaner. I don't think that's going to work. Tighten up the carburetor. It's just missing the bolts. Not sure what we did with that. I don't remember. I don't know if we stuck the carburetor on something else for a minute. Just got to get it all ready to go here. Looks like I don't have a fuel line either. Metal line. Missing that thing. So anyway, we'll just figure out what to do there. Start getting this thing ready. I gotta put the bumper up in there first and just see. I gotta drill those holes. It'd be a lot easier to do now, right? Yeah, drill those holes out and get those in. I still don't have a battery for it, so I gotta find one, go buy one for it. So got that to do. It's time to go to the store. It all takes a lot of time. So we'll see how it adds up, see how far we get. Maybe we can get it in there, see what happens. Well, this was really kind of impossible to film here, but I've had to take this bumper on and off a bunch of times just to try and bend the brackets, because look how tight they fit. This is the way a normal single cab is. A lot of people don't know that they pretty much were touching on both sides. So you got touching this side and it's touching on that side, or very close. These bumpers were meant for buses. They didn't really have a single cab bumper, so the single cab corners are more sharp, so there's less room in there. Anyway, and it actually fits on the frame. I must have done something right, as it's the same over here as it is over there. So it's just a little, like maybe this bracket needs to be bent in, or I don't know how I ended up, the way maybe the frame kind of goes out and then comes in. I couldn't get that shape of it when I made it, so it's going to clamp that on there. I got to get another one of these. So all this little stuff is going to take me a lot of time. I'm sure I won't get a will it run out of this video, but or first drive or anything like that, but I got to go get another pair of those small ones, because that's what I need to hold it in place while I'm drilling it. Just kind of got it on the jack here just to check it out. And will I scratch it? Probably. That's why I always figure I'm sure I'm going to scratch it. Just trying to do that, there's no way you're going to do that without scratching it. And then just touch up, you know. I don't get all bent out of shape trying to not, I'm trying not to scratch it, but I'm not really that worried about it. This lens is kind of shot, huh? I don't know if I want to buy one. I do have some plastic. Maybe I can fix it. Just put a little piece on there. I don't know. Maybe I'll buy one. I'm not sure. I'm sure they're not as good as the old Hella ones. I don't know who makes them now, and they're really expensive. Around 90 bucks or something like that a piece. As I heard. I don't know. I haven't looked. The European style ones. Anyway, I'll have one clean, nice new one and one old one, because I'm not buying two at 90 bucks a piece. Nope. Ain't happening. So, anyway, no, I'll just put that one on there temporarily for now at least. We'll move forward with that. Get this on. And then, once I get, I don't know if I'm going to take the bumper back off. Maybe I'll just put it on and just leave it there. I mean, that thing's hard to get on. It's going to be hard to get on with the engine in there. On the single cab. On the bus, it's easy. On the single cab, because it's so tight, I'm not sure. And then I got to clamp it, and then what I'll do is I'll probably put the back bolts in first, and then I'll clamp it, and then I'll put the front bolts in, because it's going to be like under tension all the time because of how all homemade stuff. So what do you expect? All right, I'll put this thing on. Take a look at that. So what, guys, did you not think it's going to fit? I have to say, you know, honestly, I wasn't really sure, especially when I was doing all the metal work on this. When I put that piece in and it fit, I was actually, or it was close, I was actually pretty shocked. with all the metalwork that I did to make everything in the back and then fit that piece. I just thought by the time I get back here it was going to be really far off, and it wasn't actually. You know, with a whole lot of eyeballing and a little bit of measuring and a lot of luck, you know, that's how most of this got done. You know, that's pretty much what happened. It was mostly luck. More luck, less measuring. Yeah, that's what it was. All right, talk to you guys later. All right, I got a little paint on the springs. Ready to put some padding on here, and I want to have a place to sit when I drive this thing for the first time, I think. Found the original grommets in the corner back in there. Over there. And hooked up the wire to the starter. It's a lot easier to do that before the engine's in, right? Still need to hook up like the throttle cable. I've got fuel line that I got to run to the gas tank that's missing. There's one that goes up and over. Still don't have that one in there yet. Got a little bit of work to do. There's a lot to do to put the engine in. This thing can just make it run when everything was missing in the beginning. All right, so we're going to do the fuel hose what I usually do is I just use some brake line, spin it myself. I don't have any. I'll have the hose for this one. I'll get you guys in frame there. You guys can see better. Maybe put you over here a little bit. That looks like it might be better. I need a, should have bent that a little bit different. Just get 1/4 inch brake line and usually does the job. Or if you can find 5mm, that's always good. And I just cut it, like say, right there. I'll cut that off, bring it back in. Spare you the noise from that. Let's use the cutoff wheel. Could used to be a little bit shorter. And it'd be nice if it kind of bent like that a little bit. Cut a little shorter, take it, bring it back in. Okay, on the suction side, I don't use clamps, don't need to. Done this stuff before, guys, and never had an engine fire. So like guys like to comment that, yeah, that causes a fire. And more than 40 years of doing these VWs, I've seen a lot of engine fires, and none of them from the way I'm doing stuff. But I have seen people blame problem with the fuel line on things like, you know, putting your fuel filter here. Personally, I've never seen a fire from that. I've seen people not use clamps on their fuel line. I've seen fuel many times. That's been the most engine fires we've seen over the years that I've been doing VWs, are from that. People not using hose clamps. The second most common thing is the barb that's either in the fuel pump or the one in the carburetor. This, I guess it's copper or brass tube, I don't know, comes out, slides right out of there, and then blows on the distributor. I've seen fires from that. You know, back when I was a mechanic many years ago, they had plastic fuel filters in the engine compartment. We never had issues with fires from that. So, I mean, on the regular brand new car, would have a plastic filter in the engine compartment, and they didn't catch fire. So I stay to the same rules that I've always done, and the reason why I want it here and not way up near the tank is because a lot of times, even back years ago when I worked on these, you would get metal in from your line, so that your line would rust a little bit inside, or the one that goes from the bug going from the back to the front of the car would rust out, would get a little bit of rust, little piece of rust in it or something like that. It would pop out and it would end up going through the fuel pump and coming up here and getting stuck right here in the carburetor. Seen that a few times. And plugged up, there's a small orifice there for the float. I've plugged that up before. Seen that a couple of times. So these are the reasons I do things the way I do it, because I've been doing it a while. I've done this stuff most of my life, and that's how I always do it. There's a screen inside here too, and it doesn't always help. People say the screen is a filter. It's not really, it's just a screen. This is finer stuff that keeps out of the carburetor. So as long as I do it like this, you do it however you want. As long as I put it on clamps on everything. Now the other thing you do want to do sometimes is you can take a piece of baling wire right here after this is tightened down, and you can leash it to one of these, so that if this barb here comes loose in the fuel pump, you can leash it around, take this one loose and leash it around there and have it kind of pulling tight so that it'll keep it from falling out. So it'll just leak a little bit of fuel, but where your fire happens is when the fuel leaks on the distributor cap. That's what I've seen. And like I said, it's usually from a couple different things, usually from old fuel line that was cracked, most common thing I've seen. Number two, never seen one of these crack and fall apart yet. Not saying they can't, but they could. I mean, if you didn't maintain it, something that if it's here, you're going to look at it, you're going to see it, you're going to go, hey, it's a little dirty, better put another one on. If it's underneath the car, probably not going to happen. So that's why I put them here, change them, make sure they stay clean, and that's why I would do it that way. And also, like I said, just sometimes I've seen pieces of the pump come loose, whatever, different things from inside here or inside the fuel line come up and actually still plug up even with a fuel filter at the tank. Done this before, at least once. Couple more things I've seen cause engine fire, or people don't put this, see how this is right here, this rubber hose around there. I always put a piece of rubber hose around the metal line where it goes through. That I've seen an engine fire from. All right, so I did put a little bit of silicone on there so that hose won't slide off of there. The other thing I see engine fire from is, I don't know, some people say you got to use different hose somewhere in the world. This stuff still is good for me here. This is the German hose. I've seen, and this is actually 5mm. I've seen a lot of times people put 1/4 inch fuel line on, gets decrepit, doesn't last, and I've seen that go bad. So that I've seen happen too. So I always stick with this stuff wherever you are. I'm not sure. Some people said, you know, neoprene hose now or something. I don't know. I haven't had that problem here. So we haven't had, I don't know what our fuel formulas might be different. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's how I set mine up right there. So the other thing I need to do still on this car is I got to put this fuel line in. And then I don't have some of the parts for my, this one goes up underneath. I took it out. And I got to make it go up underneath there, and I got to clamp it in there, so I won't be able to film that. That's underneath the car right here. So let me show you. Goes up under there. Goes up there. You can see like a little spot where it was. I guess the fuel hanger is still there, isn't it? I thought we took that down. Yeah. Thought I was going to have to make another one. Okay, cool. I can't see it. I'm looking in the camera. So okay, so I'll put a piece of fuel hose in there and run that around down to where it hooks in there, where the tank inlet is. And then there's another little piece of hose to put underneath there. So I've got to do that still. Be easier with the engine out. Yeah, but it tripped out on this already. That starter that was in there, this is the same starter that was in this bus, or this truck. Look at that. How about that for luck? At least something went my way. Starter's still good after whatever, I don't know, that rusted out old thing. Still worked. How about that? Alright, so I just played around getting the wiring hooked up on it. And I'll just fill up the float bell. I have no idea if this thing's going to even start. I don't have the throttle cable hooked up yet. I don't know if I have it hooked up in the front yet, so I got a major amount of work to do here. Let's hook up this battery cable, battery cable. I had it disconnected, forgot. And just see if it rumbles over a little bit. This engine ran before, but you never know. Contact. Yeah, it does rumble over, so it's definitely pretty quiet too. See if I can get the throttle hooked up. Maybe I'll get that far in this, who knows. I wasn't sure where I was going to get on this thing. I don't have any gas, so that's another issue. I don't have enough to fill up the tank and prime it. So let me look underneath and check the front throttle cable first, and then I'll see if I got a barrel nut for the back. Alright, so we got a little bit of an issue right now. Well, this part, you can see this thing's bent upward a little bit, and it's over just like, what, about a half an inch, quarter. So probably the body, you know, as it kind of got put together, probably walked over a little bit because it was straight up into the back, but I already knew I was going to have something like this happen. So here's the other issue, is the engine, the part that goes over the back, is that tin that goes across in the back. You can't see it here. It's back behind here. I don't know, you guys can probably see better than me. I can't see a thing. But it's, this part here is up or down just a little bit, maybe a quarter of an inch or something. You know, those are the type of things that, you know, you can't, on something like this, when you're building something like this, you know you're going to have an issue like that. I already knew I was going to have some of that stuff happen, and I was like, how bad is it going to be? I don't know, you know. So anyway, but I can't, what's happening is the throttle cable tube is rubbing against there, and it's causing the throttle not to be able to work. I was trying to just put 2 springs on it to make it run for now, but you know, it's not going to go down that easy. It's a Volkswagen. They have to be right, you know. So what I'm going to try and do now is I'm going to try and go underneath the car with a porta power. I don't know if it's going to work or not. Take my jaws there. I'll show you what it's like here. That's what I say. I think people think, oh, just put the engine, make it run. Yeah, right. With this thing, I'm going to go underneath, put that on top of the transmission, and try and jack that area up. I don't know if it's going to be successful or not. Otherwise, I'll have to take the engine back out. It's just the way it goes. In and out. No, we weren't so lucky. Gotta pull the engine back out. That little, there's that little area in the middle. And you guys know that little area in the middle is where the throttle cable goes through. And it's just misaligned ever so slightly. Just won't quite go through there. But there's no way to do it with the engine in. You just can't get in there with your hands. There's not enough room. So I'll just pull it back out and then fix it back up. And you have to do it 2 or 3 times before it's right. That's just the way it is. And it does run. I don't know if we can fire it up for a second. I don't have any throttle, so I'll try it one more time. It's probably going to rev up and if I didn't burn the points, I think I left the ignition on. Let's try it. I'll try and fill up the float bowl again. I fill up the float bowl, that's why I'm spraying so much. I'm actually spraying it in this little tube in the top. I think the throttle is going back now, but it's got to come out. Trying to fill up the float bowl and get it a little more prime and see if it starts. Just hear it run for a second. That's all you're gonna give me? I get a little more than that. Trying to get the throttle prime it enough. Let me try one more time. I put a lot of spray in there. I thought it was going to start. At least run for a second. Yeah, I don't have one of Musty One's little float bowls. I don't know if the choke's adjusted right. Well, without gas, it's just not going to happen. I was trying to get it with a little bit of choke cleaner just to make it start up for a second, and it's just not going to do it today. All it is just this little square area where the rubber goes across it, and it's going to need that little part cut out of the rubber, and then it's fine. It's maybe it's like I'm going to say 1/8 of an inch off. Volkswagen doesn't allow that. That's too much. An VW, it's got to be right. If it was a Ford, it'd probably work fine. Or Chevy. Yeah, but Volkswagen, nope. All right, well, anyway, I had to take the engine out and cut out that area. There's a little part in the middle where the throttle cable goes through. It's just a little tiny bit off, so I'll just have to take it back out and see if, just take the engine out, redo that, put it back in, sort of things you're going to have to do on something like this, right? It's had so much body work done onto it, it's not even the same shape, so, it'll work, but it's just going to be a little fun to get it to do what we want it to do, which is run and drive, and we're just not there yet. So anyway, we did get it, try to get it started, and we were unsuccessful. So let's just wait till the next one. Maybe the next video we'll get it in there. Who knows? It's it's really kind of up to how things are. It's just something like this can take 10 minutes or 2 hours. Or each little thing you do, you just don't know. these old cars. When you're doing something with this much repair, you can never know what's going to happen. So I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let's move to the next part. Talk to you then.